tuning in on to another fun episode of Dbacks Dispatch with the trio, Gabe, Brandon, and myself, Brett, as we welcome you guys on in here. Appreciate you guys spending your free time in here. I know it's been an exciting day for a lot of people as it is the start of football coming back. But we are not a football podcast. We are a Dbacks podcast, so we will be keeping it Dbacks related. Before we kind of dive into the entire series over the Texas Rangers, if this is your first time in here, welcome you in. We appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube side if you are on the YouTube side. If you are on the Spotify or Apple side, make sure you guys leave a rating, whatever you think we deserve. We just like to hear your feedback and everything. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as well. And then while you're on Twitter, click the pinned tweet. Should have a link to our Discord if you're not already in there. Or if you don't have a Twitter and you're listening to us either on Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, in the description for both of them should have the same exact link. Again, it's free. Don't have to do anything else. Click on that. Join on in and join the great community that we have growing pretty much every single day. And then also make sure you guys, as always, go over to azsnakebit.com. Check out all the content, great writers, game day recaps, in-depth articles, and even Josh does a great job putting up a little bit more of a written Dbacks dispatch content. So if you want a little more dispatch in your life, that's where you guys want to be. Again, azsnakebit.com. But to kind of dive into things here, like we said at the last part of our episode, that series win against the Dodgers was great momentum going into the series against the Rangers. Hopefully they could get the sweep there. And the series did not start off in the best of ways, or at least it was looking like it was good for a while there. The D-backs did have a 5-3 lead going into the ninth inning. Vietnam flashbacks ensue. Every single time we have just a 2-run lead against the Rangers, it just triggers me. But the reason why the D-backs even had some of that scoring start is Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo went back-to-back on back-to-back pitches. Marte for his 24th, and Domo for his 16th, and then even Tyler Locklear. I know he's still got a long way to kind of break out of the slump that he's kind of been in since he got here, but he went 102 off the bat, 410 feet for his third as a Diamondback, which has been pretty nice to see. The Rangers kind of clawed back a little bit there. Cody Freeman hit a 2-run shot to make it 3-2 Rangers. D-backs got a few more runs there on a Blaze Alexander triple and then a Gabby Moreno double, made it 5-3 D-backs, but then Saul Frank was not used in the ninth because he was used, sadly, in the eighth inning, which led to Jake Woodford being put into the ninth inning. They gave up a triple to Jake Berger, of all people. And then after spamming a bunch of sweepers, they walk Kyle Higashioka and even Cody Freeman. Rangers tie it, and then they go on to score 2 in the 10th inning. Obviously, some weird shenanigans and umpire review and all that stuff. D-backs end up losing 7-5, so the series did not start off in the greatest of fashion there. But thankfully, they moved on. They flushed it. They went into game 2. They were down 2-0 early. Nabil Kurzmat was pitching pretty solid, but even Latz for the Rangers, he was kind of shutting them down for a while there until they finally broke through there in the 6th inning. Blaze Alexander singled to bring home Gabby Moreno, and then Ildemaro Vargas, who's been playing a pretty decent role as kind of a utility infielder there. He tied things up at 2, and then finally Jordan Lawler got his first hit. He had 2 hits in this game, so he is finally broken free there. He is not going to break Chris Davis's hitless streak there that he set when he was an Oriole. And then Ketel Marte does things again. He hit a 3-run bomb to give the D-backs a 5-2 lead in this one, which was the 4th game in a row against the Rangers. Ketel Marte had a home run. He's already up to 25 on the season, which is pretty crazy considering that he did miss about a month of action, but the bullpen the rest of the way, Beeks with 2/3 of an inning, and then Tyler Rashi, who's back up on the roster. Once again, he got another save, his second save as a Diamondback. 2 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run allowed, 2 strikeouts. But the D-backs do hold on and win 5-3. So thankfully, the bullpen does not blow it in Game 2. And then going into Game 3, the rubber match was a little bit of a pitcher's duel, which I don't think a lot of us expected, considering especially Zach Gallen was on the bump there. He was really solid. He's been pitching like the ace that we all know and expected, and of course, pretty much right when the season is borderline over, he decides to lock in. He goes 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, which is huge. 5 strikeouts and no home runs, and another one with no runs allowed in general. His ERA over his last 7 is up or down to 2.20, so he really has been looking like the guy that's going to get paid hundreds of millions of dollars, at least like he was a few years ago. And then Jack Leiter, former first-round pick for the Rangers, he was also kind of matching Zach a long way there. Started off shaky a little bit there, gave up a couple in I believe, the first 2 innings, but he still went 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. But thankfully, the 2 runs were all the D-backs were going to need. The D-backs got those 2 runs in the first and second inning, and then Gallen in the bullpen went the rest of the way, kind of shut them down. Thompson, Curtis, Saul Frank, and Woodford combined to go the final 3 innings. gave up a there's a little bit of shakiness here and there, a couple walks and whatnot, but the Rangers never really threatened too much. They struggled. They went 0 for 5 in runners to score position the entire game, which definitely helped the D-backs keep that 2-0 lead. And they do get the series win, which is a huge momentum booster now. Just one game under 500 once again. Cross that 70 win threshold, which I don't think a lot of us fully expected them to a month or two ago when we were kind of in the trenches and losing all those games to the Pirates, and things were looking very bleak. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about being on another end of a series loss here against the Rangers. We do have some momentum going into the weekend here, but to kind of go into one of our first topics here, I think this was one that even our man Scott Mack in the comments kind of bringing up some questions here. So a little bit of bullpen mismanagement, or at least bullpen questions. Some people could say mismanagement. Some people be like, well, who else do you really have out there? The fact that Andrew Saalfrank was used in the eighth inning there. Backus, Saalfrank were both using I believe the eighth inning to kind of.
So Solfrank was all by himself in the eighth. Backus started the ninth.
Okay, so that's what it was. But either way, using Saalfrank, who's been one of our more reliable bullpen pitchers since he's been called up back from Reno. I mean, the dude has a 1.16 ERA in 23 and third innings pitched with a sub 1 WHIP, and it seems like with the closer by committee, he should be the guy getting the ninth inning. Unfortunately, was using the eighth inning. I get matchups and all that, but then left Backus, who's been roughed up a little bit. He's got an over 4 ERA, and then even John Woodford, who again is another bargain bin, Zia 25-cent movie find, where he just can't hold the lead down. He blows the lead once again, and had a lot of fans kind of sitting there questioning and wondering like how after I think it was almost the same exact day. I know we were talking about it in our group chat, almost like 7 years to the day, or at least a day or two removed from when Archie Bradley got adopted by Matt Kemp in the 2018 season. Pretty much almost the exact same issues 7 years later. Still some bullpen questions from the manager that left a lot of us kind of scratching our head. So with all that kind of in mind, obviously who was using what spot, matchups and all that. What is your thoughts and opinions, maybe a couple takes and whatnot, on what kind of transpired there in game one in regards to the bullpen?
Yeah, for me, it's just the same kind of tourism that we've seen the last 9 seasons, which is just this closer by committee, which at times has shown like not just to not work, but you need guys to have assigned roles. I'm like, is Saalfrank suddenly the eighth inning guy, even though he has had quite a few times where he's coming to the ninth and has absolutely shoved. Like for the most part, he's been untouchable throughout this season. I know his peripherals show a slightly different story, but not even that much. He has a 3.44 expected ERA. Um, that's mostly due to his velocity. I mean, that's mostly the main thing. Is just that he doesn't throw very hard, but he has such a nasty curveball that kind of makes everything else irrelevant. He can place that curveball wherever he wants, and same with the fastball. He's just placing the ball wherever he wants. He's had one real blow up this whole entire season. That was early on, like his second or third game up. But like how Scott Max says, like that implosion in Denver, and again, it's Denver. Curveballs just don't work the same way in Denver the way they do everywhere else, and the main thing that makes them nasty is that curveball. But as of right now, I mean, I think it was a couple episodes ago, if not the last time, me and Brandon were talking about relief pitching, and we brought up Aroldis Chapman. If Torrey was in charge of Aroldis Chapman, he would put him in the eighth just so many times this season. Like that's just the way he is. And if anyone thinks I'm exaggerating, Archer Bradley was the closer. And what was that season, Brett? Was that 18 or 19?
2018, when they
2018.
blew 18 when they blew the division lead that they had for almost the entire
Yeah,
year.
so at that point, Archer Bradley was the closer, and he was using him in the eighth inning, and he left him out there to die. Go back and watch that game. Archer Bradley you can see it in his eyes. He was scared. Like he clearly was not finding anything in the zone, just looked absolutely terrible. He had, I think, walked 2 guys as well, and he just kept looking back. And this was before the three batter limit and everything. He just kept looking to that dugout, just basically asking Torrey to bail him out because he just did not have anything that day, and just Torrey left him out there. He got beat up, and I've seen. I don't know if it was on the PHNX show or if it was on the live show that I attended. Archie did bring that up, sort of. When he talked about Matt Kemp, he brought up the fact that sometimes managers will leave younger, relievers out there to kind of just die. Sometimes they need to be humbled a little bit, and I don't know if that was the case in that situation, but I mean, he was doing a pretty damn good job. And after that, I mean, Archie just never recovered. I think, like from what I can remember from his other numbers, he just never recovered after that Metcalf home run. But it should be a no brainer. Saul Frank, he is the best pitcher in that bullpen on the staff. And if you want to argue righty lefty, Backus facing nothing but Backus is a lefty too. But look at Saul Frank splits versus righties. Righties are batting 177 with a 0.74 whip. He has 12 strikeouts versus lefties. They have a 0.190 average and a 1.41 or whip. So, if anything, lefties are hitting him a little bit better than righties. And the fact that there's some righties coming up into that ninth inning, he just left Backus out there, which I don't understand at all. I mean, Backus he hasn't been the best this season either. He has a 5 ERA. Even Woodford in a couple of the games. I mean, he was able to get the last few outs in the ninth inning on yesterday. So he's not terrible. Woodford isn't a terrible option. He does have a nasty two seamer, but again, this you know this bullpen has been decimated. But these guys need established roles. They need to know when they're coming in, when they're coming out, what's their role. And as of right now, just based off of ERA and based off of stuff alone, it should be Solfring. And I don't understand this whole thing. This is what like the third, fourth game in a row that he's been coming out into the to the eighth inning role, and that's just not who he is and who he should be. There should be somebody else taking that eighth inning role. Woodford should take the eighth inning. Maybe Beek should take the eighth inning. But as of right now, Saul Frank should be the closer until he blows 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah, I do fully agree. I think it is a kind of a little bit of a head scratcher. Like I know going into the season, I don't think any of us kind of tabbed Saul Frank as the guy that should be in the ninth inning there. But obviously, with all the bullpen injuries we had, we'll take, sometimes you got to ride the hot hand, and it's not like it's only been like 4, 5, 6 innings. I mean, for 23 innings, still a small sample size considered. We've seen even Ryan Thompson when we first got him in 23, he was really really solid, and then near the end of 23, he kind of like was turning into the pitcher that the Rays released him because of. But I still think that riding the hot hand, and especially like I'm trying to find who he faced in that inning there, just because I know Wyatt Langford is one of their better hitters. I believe Corey Seager is out, so even in my thought process, I was like, oh, is he going in there to face Corey Seager? But he wasn't. Like Corey Seager wasn't even there. Like you faced Michael Hellman, Ezekiel Duran, and like Wyatt Langford, which again I get. Like if you're trying to go off matchup based alone and get out one of their better hitters, like Wyatt Langford has killed us this year, a couple home runs against us, and he's got like a 778 OPS. But I still think that the better option, I do fully agree, would have been keeping him for the ninth inning, like Gabe said, having established roles. But I just don't think that we'll ever have established roles with the way the bullpen currently is. I think he'll always go off matchups alone, and then just pray that 2-3 run lead is enough for guys like Woodford and Rashi, and even Backus
He have established roles, and we had J Mart in this staff, anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. Even when we had, and then like he even like a month in was like, yeah, maybe I should have gone with an established closer there. But obviously, nothing I'm gonna do now. It's something that I think will always just be, whether it's him trying to hold his cards close to his chest and keep a team surprised, or him just being, maybe it's not even him, maybe it's the team. Again, I know sometimes other factors go into it, but I don't know. I still think that it was definitely a mistake that I think a lot of us kind of agree on. And if you don't agree on too, I would like to hear your opinion why you think that maybe that one isn't necessarily on the Volo, or maybe why you think that there should, like, you can explain the reason why you personally believe that. We would love to know, obviously, in the YouTube chat or even on Twitter. But Brandon, passing it on to you now. What are your thoughts about how the entire situation kind of went out there? Whether you agree, disagree with Gabe and I, or maybe some other take on the situation that you might have yourself.
It's the same. Like, I don't know how after 9 years he has not figured out how to, like, I get like the bullpen back there is a hot mess. Like there's not a lot back there, but I think at this point who's good and who's bad. And Scott Mack brings it up after game 1. Tor even mentioned he wanted Backus in the ninth so that he could learn how to get right-handers out, because that's where he struggles. He's very good against lefties, but he struggles against righties. And he knew that if he brought in Backus there in the ninth, that Bruce Bochy was going to counter with a righty, and that's what he did, because it was Jock Peterson. And he gave up a single there, and then Garcia. came up, and Garcia literally didn't play the rest of the series. I think he got hurt there. Um, Jake Berger triple. Are you kidding me? All right. I love Alec Thomas. He needs to stop with that ball in the gap. He just lets it roll to the wall and he just tries to play it off the wall. Like I've seen him do it way too much. He needs to cut that ball off because there are way too many times that line drive in that gap right at the pool ends up as a triple with not fast guys. I don't know if that's something he decides or is it something the team decided to do. It's frustrating because he's jogging out there and he's just waiting. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, where's the urgency to go get the ball? That's like the one gripe on Thomas that I have there when he plays center. Sometimes like he I don't want to say he gives up on it, but definitely looks a little bit lax when he tries to play. So I want to bring up kind of what we said about 2018. Archie was not the closer that year. He was the eighth inning guy.
Boxberger.
Boxberger. Yes, Boxberger had over 30 saves that
I
year.
think Boxberger was removed from that role at that point, though,
Yeah,
because he was
by that
so
point,
dogged.
yeah, it was August. By the time September rolled around, it was Archie Bradley because
But like it's
Boxberger had like a
what you
five
were
ERA.
saying. Like he knew he didn't have it, and he looked in the dugout. I was like, Tori, come get me. I don't have. I think Tori, and we've said this. He trusts guys too much to get out of it. Sometimes some guys just don't have it. Um, and I've heard Tori say this multiple. Like I guess they like Woodford in the ninth for whatever reason. I don't know what Tori and the coaching staff have seen from Woodford to make them think that he is a ninth inning guy. I'm sorry. It needs to be Saul Frank. Like Saul Frank, like I don't care about matchups at this point. You need your best reliever there in the ninth to close it out. Like who the Rangers had in the eighth inning were not guys that I'm like, this is gonna be the game right here. It was 9-1-2. So it's the bottom of their lineup to the start. Like I felt like there are other guys that could have gotten the job done. So yeah, like that that kind of sucks because Gabe brought it up. Like you manage that right, we're I'm pretty sure we're over 500 right now. Like there's been like so many games where we'll win three or four in a row, and then we lose like one or we lose two, and then we win three or four in a row. Like they just can't seem to get on that roll, and they haven't been able to do it all year. So normally I don't blame Tori for how the bullpen performs, but in this one's on Tori.
Yeah, I think that it's something that we can all, at least again, I totally understand with the state of the bullpen. It's not like it's the opening day bullpen, but I still think that I think we're all in agreement that you definitely should have been riding the hot hands and go with the guys that like even Scott Mack is saying Woodford and his stellar at 488 ERA. Like even like Gabe said, he's got some nasty pitches. I mean, he got the 1-2-3 save here on Wednesday, so there are times when he can get it done, but outside of it was facing the Rangers 2, 3, 4 hitters. I don't fully understand the reasoning to putting in Saul Frank and burning him there in the eighth inning when again it's still just a 2 run lead. Like worst case scenario, you put in Woodford, D-backs get the offense gets you a couple more runs, now it's a 4 run lead. Leave in Woodford for another inning. Like you can save Saul Frank for the next day. Like save your better lefty for the more pivotal. Because those 3 outs trust me, every out is big. Every out for all 27 outs is big, but the final 3 outs is what we really have an issue with this year. I mean, let's be honest, the last like 8 or the last like 9 to like 12 outs is what we really have a big issue with all the bullpen. But especially in the ninth inning, those are the 3 most important. And if you have the opportunity, save your best arm for it. Don't just do this whole we need these 3 outs now. But again, who knows? Maybe if he goes to Woodford in the eighth inning and he blows it, then we're sitting there like, why didn't you go to Saul Frank? So who knows? That could be a different universe from here. But at least in this one, I think we're all in agreement. We're all rightfully questioning the thought process there that went into using Saul Frank when he did and Woodford when he did.
Yeah, and I think I just want to bring up the fact that, I mean, we're all in agreement. It should be Saul Frank. If next say tomorrow, against the Red Sox, Sofrank comes into the ninth. I'm not going to blame Torrey for bringing him to the ninth. I'm going to blame Sofrank if he blows up the game, and I think that's kind of a clear distinction to make. It's that there are times when you blame the player, and there's times where you blame a manager for not putting them in situations for them to succeed. And I think I'm not going to blame who was it, Backus. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame Backus in the ninth inning because he shouldn't have been in the ninth inning. That's just not his role. That has never been his role. He's a guy who should be in the sixth or the seventh. He is a left-handed Ryan Thompson. Like that's who he is. And Ryan Thompson is not a closer. He should never be a closer. If push comes to shove, everybody's out, then yeah, you bring in Thompson in the ninth. But for the most part, guys who have that funky delivery, who don't throw very hard, should be in the seventh or the eighth. I think Woodford does throw a little bit harder than Saul Frank. So that's kind of the only real knock against Saul Frank is that he's not a guy who throws 99 or 103 like J Mart, but he finds ways to get out, and he gets the soft ground ball that he needs to. He strikes guys out, which is really important. And I know we've talked about last year with Paul Sewald. When Paul Sewald was throwing 88, I mean, he was just leaving it straight down the middle. But Sofrank doesn't leave stuff down the middle, and Sewald couldn't rely on a secondary pitch to get outs the way Sofrank can. Sofrank can throw that curveball for strikes. He can throw that fastball for strikes. So he has a couple pitches in there that he can rely on to throw strikes, and that's the main thing. He attacks the zone. So even though obviously all of us would prefer a guy who can throw a lot harder, we talked about it early in the season is comparing Jmar to AJ Puck, which is a ball coming in at 98 and a ball coming at 103. It doesn't matter if you miss down the middle. 103 is a lot harder to hit than 98. But in this case, this is unfortunately the hand that this team has been dealt with all the injuries. As of right now, Sofrank has shown the ability to get out in the ninth inning. But you literally put him anywhere, he gets out, and that's kind of my main gripe. It's just you have a guy who knows how to get out. He can get out against lefties. He can get out against righties. Put him in the ninth. Everything else, you can figure out later. But yeah, I don't understand this whole testing guys out, especially at this point in the season, because if he didn't test guys out on Sunday, we didn't test guys out on Monday, kind of just try to get these established roles. You could be talking about 3 games behind the Mets, 2 games behind the Mets, and with them going against Cincinnati, the D-backs could be right behind the Mets by a couple games after this weekend.
Yeah, so it's definitely we could be a little bit more hyped. I mean, again, we're still getting what we asked for. We were asking for them going into September to at least be like around 5 games out. It's going to be us, the Cardinals, Reds, and Giants all trying to sneak in and knock out whether it's the Mets or the Padres. And the Padres are definitely we're not taking advantage of our series this weekend over the Dodgers. But definitely going to be a few teams that going down the last stretch are going to be fighting, and we could have been, leapfrog there. We could be that 4th wildcard team if, they went through a couple different decisions there, like Gabe said, on Sunday and even Monday. But there's also one other thing I did want to bring up in Game 1 here before we get into our second topic of Game 2. And we do want to wish well recovery and hopefully a speedy recovery to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He is now going to be out for probably 8 to 12 months. Well, I don't think we have a video clip of it, and even if we did, I don't know if I want to show it because it was pretty rough.
You can't really see it though. Like you can kind of see where he kind of jumps.
I think it's the way he landed because so if you guys weren't there, if you guys haven't seen it yet, basically in the first game there, it was in the top of the 6th inning. Blaze Alexander, who was honestly really really solid in center field, all things considered. I was kind of surprised to see him out there in center field to start the series. And he looked really stellar. He made a really really nice diving play on this grab. But
he didn't even realize it, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't even realize it. But it looked like the two were going to collide. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. did his best to get out of the way, just so because again, with Blaze going full out dive, if they do collide, he's going and taking out his ankles and whatnot. It could be even worse, so he was trying to avoid it. Then of course, with the way that our luck has been going this year, Lourdes tries to jump out of the way. He kind of lands a little bit weird on his knee, goes down instantly, and I'm pretty sure they confirmed that it was an ACL tear, and he's going to need to get surgery on it. And those do not take long, or do not. take a short amount of time to heal from, and he probably will miss. I wouldn't be surprised if a majority of next year, potentially if not the entire season, depending on how like rehab takes and all that. So very very unfortunate because again Lourdes has been one of our hottest bats. Obviously that month of August that he was scorching over 30 RBIs. And I know a lot of people like it seems like he's very loved in this community. It seems like he loves the community itself. He loves living here. So very very freak injury there, and was unfortunate as hell to see. So I'm hoping that he is hopefully in good spirits and can recover as quickly as possible, because even if he's not going to be here next year, I'm still think that it's he's going to be a big piece of that clubhouse there to kind of be a veteran leader, to where hopefully he can be a little bit more of a vocal guy there next year and bring something else that's not on the field but in the clubhouse there. So at least wanted to mention that, because that was something that it hurt, man, watching that replay, like, because it's not like one of those like really gruesome injuries. I think even Steve brought it up on the broadcast, kind of gave them a flashbacks to that Kyle Schwarber torn ACL that happened in, I believe, that 2016 season when he was in the outfield. Then he thankfully came back, but his was in the opening series, so he had enough recovery. So again, if you're using that as an example, maybe he does come back maybe by the All-Star break next year with the entire offseason to recover, and then a little bit of the few months to rehab and whatnot. I'm not sure, but either way, hope that he can even if he doesn't play the next year, hopefully whenever he does come back, he can still be healthy and he doesn't deal with any lingering issues, because we know that lower body issues can always be, especially for outfielders, like it can be different for maybe like a first baseman, something like that, but especially for outfielders, you never know what those can kind of do to their career. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery and he's back to where he was once he's finally back on the field.
Yeah, so he actually has a club option after next season. So this year it's the player option, and then after next year it's the team option. So I'm very curious if he bounces back quickly, because he's probably going to take that player option. Obviously, like that would be like a huge risk to not take his player option after this season and hope that someone is willing to sign him knowing he's not playing till the All-Star break at the earliest. I think he's taking that player option, but then like if he performs well in those 6 weeks to 2 months and he stays here, like do the Dbacks exercise his team option as well? That's something to be on the lookout.
Yeah, and I think something that's going to be dependent is just how or who they bring up. I mean, I know Jake McCarthy is there, but he just hasn't hit well for a majority of his career here. If they trade him in the offseason and do whatever, I mean, there's Waldschmidt. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Tommy Troy was pulled from the game today. Like, we have enough outfielders in this system that could take a spot come next season. Drew Jones has made huge leaps and bounds, literally, in the minors as well. So, I mean, it could be a point to where we get to next season and we're midway point, we're in August or whatever, and let's say Lourdes does take that player option. We might not need him in the outfield. I mean, we can always put him as DH as well. I mean, for a guy recovering, that's the DH position is kind of a good place to put him. But I do want to dispel the fact that for most guys, for the longest time, one of the biggest issues with guys in the outfield, whether it was the knees or hamstrings, it was the turf. But Lourdes came from Toronto, so he was used to dealing with turf as well. So it's not like a guy who just suddenly came from turf and just couldn't, recover properly and just has had issues his whole career with his knees and stuff like that. So just unfortunate incident with him. I don't blame anything except, I mean, maybe that thing was just ready to fall off the bone, and there's just the most unfortunate thing. It could have happened when he was running the bases at some point as well.
Can you find a way to just blame Kaplan for this too? I'm just kidding.
I saw a lot of people initially on Monday blaming Blaze on it.
That's not his fault at all. Like that was a freak play. Like there's no issue with anybody that didn't.
I love how Domo sees it right away, and he's sprinting from the infield. Like he might have gotten to Gurriel quicker than Blaze did.
Yeah, that's our captain right there.
Yeah. So
yeah, say it.
I just think he's really close with Gurriel. So like that, he was like, oh no.
I think he's just. That's why I think that he's a big part of that clubhouse. Veteran guy. Seems like he's loved there with just a lot of the guys in general. So I think everybody, even if it's it wasn't shown there. I'm pretty sure every single person was hurting because I know a lot of us fans were. Um, but I would do want to at least obviously go over some of the comments here that we have in the chat and whatnot, because again, we appreciate you guys all tuning on in here. I know earlier Disruptive, kind of going back to the South topic, was saying South should be the closer for the rest of the year, and I do fully agree. Kind of going back to what Gabe was saying about having like established roles, it would really be nice to see him fully have that established role as a closer. We don't have to really worry about this kind of same issue happening in game one, happening for any more of the seasons. Because, again, very unlikely we make the playoffs, but I would still not have to grow another hand to have more fingers to try to count on, like, how many issues. Like, I'm already running out of fingers and toes for how many times this year we've had some bullpen malpractice, or maybe not even just a season, but in general as a career. I don't need more for the rest of the season because it's not fun for any of us. Even just saying, why do we need to lose to the Mets every game? I think it's just because they're the third wildcard team. I know we need the Reds and the Giants to lose as well. Same with the Cardinals, but the Mets are the big one because they do hold that last spot. So as long as they keep losing, then I think that we'll be, and we keep winning. I think that's the main thing. But we also do need the Reds, Giants, and even the Cardinals to kind of fall back a little bit there. And also want to welcome in Elizabeth. Elizabeth, always love seeing you in here. We appreciate you tuning on in. So thank you very much. And then even Scott's on the Gurriel topic, saying Gurriel's made a lot of highlight reel plays this year, and the wear and tear may have finally caught up to him. That could be true. I mean, who knows? Even like Gabe said, maybe it was just ready to fall off the bone. Could have been. I think it's just one of those where, I mean, we've seen it in like football. We've seen it even in like basketball. Thankfully, it's not like an Achilles tear, but sometimes the human body is not meant to be playing sports like this many times. I know baseball's an even longer season, so sometimes freak injuries happen, and that's kind of what we saw there in game one. But something that I think was a Freaky Friday situation for everybody, and nobody really saw coming, was Jordan Lawler finally breaking out of his hit streak, or his hitless streak there. Did not have a hit since the 2023 regular season. Obviously, all 2024 didn't make the Major League squad. But that was his first hit in game one there, or in game two there. That was his first hit since the 2023 campaign and the 2023 regular season. I believe he was 0 for 36, maybe 0 for 37 going into that at bat. Finally got no surprise, it was a fastball right down the middle. But either way, thankfully, he finally did break through. He got that, that off of his back there with it was kind of a hard hit ball, 107 miles an hour off the bat, double in the gap there. And then I believe he got a second hit later in the game. I'm trying to check
He did.
the exit velocity, because I believe they were both hard hit. Yeah, so both of them over 100 miles an hour. Obviously, both of them were on fastballs. One was an 88 mile an hour sinker, but I'm just going to classify it as fastball. So still needs to see him kind of adjust to the breaking balls a little bit, because I know that's been a big issue. But either way, finally broke through. Got 2 big hits in this game, and I think that's going to be something to. In my opinion, I think that's going to kind of catapult him and go a little bit further. But I wanted to pass on to you, Gabe, get your thoughts on it, because I know you had some thoughts in our group chat about the whole Lawler situation, whether it's going to be him, using it as a way to stay hot. But how is that going to be a possibility when he's immediately benched the very next game?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again, we're in year 9 of Labella. We know what he does. He will bench guys who are on, I don't know, a 15-game hit streak. Like, just kind of what he does. I mean, with Lawler, it was really interesting because Leiter really struggles against righties. Righties are batting like 250 against Leiter. Oh, no, righties. Yeah, righties were batting 250 against Leiter, and I think lefties were batting like 180 or something like that. He has really weird splits for this season. And so it would have been the perfect spot for Lawler to come in and, maybe face a guy. I haven't checked properly, but they were in the minor leagues around the same time. They could have had a chance to actually face each other at some point. And Lawler, finally getting some relatively consistent at bats. I mean, he could have made a really big difference. We saw on Sunday, I believe, he did have a couple hard flyouts. He did even on Monday. He had a couple at bats where he took 5 or 6 pitches. He did make some hard outs. He was finally starting to really barrel up the ball, make good contact. Just wasn't up there swinging at 3 balls, out of the zone and striking out the way he had been early on. And he finally got a couple of hits, a couple of really hard hits, the double and then the single. And he mentioned in the post game, felt good to get the monkey off his back and getting some consistent play. Like, it's really been helping him. And then he's immediately benched, and it's like, great. I can't, bench before a day off. You know, it really helps his development. I think to give him 2 entire days off after he finally hits the ball. So maybe he's gonna be in the lineup tomorrow. There's a lot of people who are asking in the comments as well, not just in ours, but a lot of other posts from the D-backs saying like, "Oh, we're gonna play him." I don't know if we're gonna talk about him, but Perdomo has been abysmal, just really, really bad the last week and a half or so. I mean, if you
10 days or
look
so,
at
it's been.
look at Perdomo's last 7 games. I mean, he's batting 103, 133 on base, 207 slugging. Um, that they mentioned that I believe during the Dodger series early on in that one, if not the Brewer series, that Perdomo was having I believe a contusion, like a bone bruise
Bruce, yeah,
that he was dealing with, and I think
Well, he's
that's
been dealing with that like
for like
the
3 months
last
now.
the last 3 months, and I think
yeah.
it's just gotten really bad in terms of the
Yeah,
pain
I think it's
tolerance.
finally caught up to him. And one of the main things to note is not just the fact that he's not hitting, he's just grounding out so many times, but it's the fact that he's making errors. He had what, 5 errors or 5 errors in this series, if not this week. Um,
So there was one game where it was initially two, but they changed one of them to a single.
You could make it 6 if you count him wearing the wrong hat on Wednesday, which when
yes.
somebody in one of the discords I'm in pointed that out, really bothered me. So he had another mental error there. I'm sorry. Had to bring in the dumb joke because that bothered me as a watcher. It really threw me off. But
Yeah. I mean, generally, I'm a guy who like wants the best guys out there every single day, but as of right now, Perdomo is just not there. Just he's not hitting well. He's not playing really good defense either. So if he was playing just shutdown defense, then I think that would be a little bit different. You kind of just would hope that he can work out of this slump. But I think it's beyond that. I think it's both physical and mental, and he just probably needs a day or two off. So if you want to give Lawler a few more days to play, I know they said 2 or 3 games, but that's just not enough. If he's only getting 2 or 3 games, just send him back to Reno. Just let him get his reps down there, then have him come fresh in spring training. Like I don't understand how they've been, you know, just mishandling his progress. Like they just haven't done well by him this entire time in the major leagues, and this has to stop. I mean, going the rest of the way, he needs to play 80% of the games, 90% of the games. So I don't know. He needs consistent at bats, and hopefully this upcoming series he gets more consistent at bats.
yes, it's don't want. I know I said it at the last show. You don't want any question marks regarding Lawler, especially because there were some people kind of talking about the potential of Alex Bregman. He's going to be opting out of his contract with the Red Sox. People are like, oh, we can get Bregman, and I'm like, just to block Lawler once again. Like at that point, you have to move on from him, and I don't think they can do that yet. When I don't think there's a full, again, under 100 at bats for a former top prospect who's still really young. I think like maybe what, a year younger, a year older. Like he's almost the same age as Domo, if not right around there. Like you can't just be giving up on this guy yet, especially if he starts to turn things around now and then goes to another team eventually, and then turns into what his pedigree was looking like. It would be very unfortunate. I do think that give Domo a day off of his feet. He does lead the league in games played. When I was looking at stats earlier, he has 140
He's
games played.
he's missed one game. We've played 141, by the way.
Yeah, so like, give him just one day off. Maybe even fuck it, throw him as a DH there. I don't give a shit. Like I mean, but even like Gabe said, he hasn't been hitting well. So I don't know if we want to deal with bringing back Pavin Smith and having Domo pay homage to him as a terrible DH in that game. But just give him a day off his feet. Let him hopefully get a mental reset, maybe get a physical reset. Because even like you said, bone bruise isn't something that you can really like rest from. Like you have to rest to let it go away. So it's not like one day off is going to fix it, but it could at least hopefully give him a little bit of a reset and let him get back to where he was hitting there, because there was a long stretch where around like 50, 60 games where he was hitting and producing even better than Bobby Witt Jr. and he was arguably the best shortstop for a time there this season. But Brandon, passing it on to you. What are your thoughts on how Lawler obviously finally getting the monkey off his back, breaking through with 2 hard hit balls, a double and a single there. Also, kind of starting a little bit of a rally there with before the Ketel Marte homer, and then the fact that he was benched afterwards. What is your thoughts on the whole situation? And even like Gabe was talking about how that could maybe be remedied with getting a little bit more playing time with Domo kind of struggling as of late.
So I always thought with Lawler is once he got that first hit out of the way, I think he would be able to calm down. He was pressing really really bad. Um, there was I think it was on Sunday. He had one at bat where he was being too conservative at the plate. Like he was just trying to just take pitches, and he missed an easy one right on the outer third. So I'm hoping that getting these two hits is really going to help him bounce back. Jerry's um, issues with errors is only in the last week. He had three in this series. He hadn't really had any of those issues, but his offense, I think he has like three hits in the last week and a half. It's been a struggle for him lately, and I think it's the bone bruise that he's been dealing with all year. I just think right now, he's trying to push through it. It's a pain tolerance thing. He's not gonna tell Torrey to not play him. It's gonna be up to Torrey, and Torrey's probably not gonna do it. Now, as for Lawler sitting in Game Three, like Torrey said when he brought up, they're playing him 2 to 3 times a week on the left side only. So shortstop or third base. He had played 2 games in a row. So it was gonna happen. It's just bad timing. Like yes, Lawler has 2 hits, so then go ahead and sit him the next day. Um, I find it interesting though that he has subbed out Lawler twice late in games for Blaze to play third. Like I know Blaze has been playing pretty well, but it's not like Lawler's playing bad defense. So like that one always caught me off. I'm like, why not put Blaze in left for either Barossa or McCarthy? Like that's personally what I think they should do. Like Blaze has shown that he can. I mean, it's a really, really, really small sample size. He's played in the outfield like 2 games, but he's looked pretty good. I just like you can't take his bat out of the lineup, but Lawler does need to get opportunities, and I think I would rather see Lawler play over Jorge Barossa and Jake McCarthy. I just like we know what Barossa is a probably in terms of a defender probably better than Alec Thomas. Like he gets better jumps, and I think he's faster, but his bat is non-existent. Like his
You can
bat
kill them.
is
You can kill the idea of Jose Herrera, or you can kill the man Jose Herrera, but you can't kill the idea of Jose Herrera.
yeah, pretty much. Like it's just like when they made the decision of who's going to be on the 28, when I saw that Jorge Barossa was taking BP, I'm like, it's only because he's on the 40 man. They don't want to make a change to the 40 man, but they're gonna have to because there are K Rob could be eligible for the Rule 5. And do you know how much that would suck if we lose K Rob to the Rule 5 draft and he just.
Right when he's on the doorstep of the majors.
Yes, like that's who I thought we should have brought up. Was because I'd rather see him play than Jake McCarthy and Jorge Barroza. Like I know Jake runs fast, but that's all he does.
Yes, I think especially because even like today, it was I think Tommy Troy was originally set to play in the Aces game, but then he was scratched from the lineup. I don't think there was any news that came out from that. I don't think that anything was fully announced. But with the timing and everything, obviously today being an off day, who knows? Maybe they did maybe they move Gurriel or whatever it is that frees up a roster space. Maybe they go with Troy because again he has been playing more outfield down there in Reno. Maybe the big reason why they went with Barossa or potentially even goes with a guy like Troy could be just because I don't think K Rob is like maybe as fast. I know he's more of a corner outfielder. Not saying he's like terrible on defense, but he might not be as good of a defender as guys like Barossa, Jake McCarthy, or even who knows Tommy Troy. Because I haven't seen any highlights of him out in center field, but sometimes that could be a good thing if he's playing well enough to where you don't have to really worry about it. He could be doing just fine to where it's like giving them confidence in it. I'm not sure, but I do fully agree. It should have been K Rob. And I get your point, Brandon, saying I think it's just bad timing on the whole, like going back to like the Lawler topic. I think obviously he did play Monday, he did play Tuesday, so it's probably already a planned day of not having him there on Wednesday. But even kind of like going in with Gabe's credit is like, hey man, this isn't really helping his progression. Like I get that, he already played 2 games in a row, but with the day off coming, dude, like just kind of like with the Sulfur thing, ride the hot hand. Let him go back out there, build on that confidence because that's how you get something started. You don't want to just have a dude go hot and then be like, okay, cool, you can cool off on the bench for 2 days without seeing live pitching, and then back on Friday go right back to the same issue. Maybe he finally
I
figures something out.
never, as soon as the quote came out saying they were only playing 2 to 3 times a week, I'm like, why? There's no reason why he should not be playing every day. Like it's not like we're like really in a playoff race. Like we sort of are, but like we're kind of not. Like why not give him this runway for the last month to see what he can do when he plays day in and day out?
They're
I
gonna give
just
more of a runway to Jose Herrera and give him a longer leash than they are to one of our top fucking prospects, who's an actual, like, could be a young superstar shortstop, but who knows? We're just some blog boys, just giving our opinions as fans. So obviously it invalidates what we have to say. But going on to obviously, like I said earlier, uh, blown game in lead one, or blown game in game one. Came back in game two, goes to a rubber match in game three, and it was a little bit of a pitcher's duel. Somewhat of an exciting one, some of a boring one. Um, when all the scoring happens early on, then the rest of the game is borderline just a shutout. I mean, hey, a win's a win, but it doesn't help with the blood pressure, especially a 2-run lead. Like I never trust any of this bullpen with a 2-run lead. But Zach Gallen did his thing, man. He is, like we talked about earlier, just over a 2 ERA in his last 7 games. He's allowed 1 earned run over his last 18 innings pitched. He's also limited the walks immensely. I know in his game against the Dodgers he walked 3, but I think there's walks where it's a strategic walk where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to let this guy beat me. I'm going to go after somebody else in the lineup versus like I have no location and I'm going to walk a terrible hitter and then let, one of the good hitters beat me. So I think that the 3 walks on there just go off the box score look like meh, but in his last 5 games, he's walked a total of 5 innings, so averaging around a 1 walk per game, which has been a big issue for him. Obviously, the strikeouts, kind of hit or miss. He struck out only 5 in this one, but still, I'll take only 5 strikeouts with 1 walk and no earned runs from Zach Gallen every day of the week. Like that was kind of the guy that he was when we first traded for him from the Marlins. Like he was, guy that pitched a little bit of contact. Like obviously his changeup when it's there, it does get a lot of swing and miss, but he was never like a 8+ or 8 to 10+ strikeout kind of guy. And this has been obviously the timing of it and everything is funny. It's like of course you decide to lock in and pitch like an ace when the only thing that's going to benefit is pretty much your own like personal contract in the off season, which again I totally get. Sometimes especially guys can every now and then look at Christian Walker. You don't always go into free agency multiple times. Sometimes it can only be the one time you do it. So I get why maybe the good for him, but it's just very unfortunate timing that of course he decides to lock in. But hey, you know what? I will take it any day of the week. He's still one of my favorite pitchers to watch, and I'm just glad he's figuring it out at some point. What do you personally think is the reason why? Do you think it's kind of like on the same track as me? Do you think it's more of the walks? Looking at the video, do you think it's something in particular, whether location? Do you think it could be just him no longer calling his own games and Gabby being the one that is putting down the ones and twos? I'm curious, what do you think is the secret sauce behind Zach Gallen unlocking his former Cy Young caliber pitching?
I think one of the main things is just the fact that one, he's throwing strikes with the fastball. That's one of the main things that we focused on throughout the season. It was just, maybe certain relievers can get away with that, but starting pitchers, they need to be able to throw that fastball for strikes because if they get down on the count, the pitch that's coming is a fastball. Everyone knows if it's 3-0, it's a fastball and usually down the middle. And for the most part, most of the season, Zach Gallen, if he went down 3-0, he, would either call his pitch and just throw a changeup, way out of the zone, or he'll throw a curveball in the dirt and just, walk guys over and over again. And just having him throw that fastball for strikes has been pivotal for him. I think that's the main thing. The other thing is the fact that he's no longer calling his own pitches either. Having somebody else tell him, all right, just, throw me a curveball, throw me a slider, throw me a changeup, like whatever it is. Being able to trust Gabby in this situation because McCann has been out. But for me, that's mostly what it is. Just the fact that he's able to throw that fastball for strikes. It's kept guys from walking as much, and that's the main thing. It's like the ZRA, his whip, I believe, is a 1.05 in his last 7 games, unless I'm misremembering. But that's always what you want to look at. Like you have,
1.05.
yeah. So because I had seen this comment about like saying like, oh, with his expected numbers and everything. I'm like, yeah, you're looking through the whole season. It's a lot
Yeah.
different than the last 7 or 8 games where he has been able to keep guys off the bases, and his ERA could be 3.5, but if his WHIP is at a 1.05, it just means that he's been able to keep guys off the bases, and that's the most important thing. And just also the fact that he's not giving up the home run ball. I believe he has 2 home runs in the last 7 games or 3 home runs. Like this is a guy who is giving up a home like damn near 2 home runs every single start. So
Every game.
he's controlling the home run ball and he's controlling his walks, and those are two main things. So just keeping guys off the bases and then not having these extended innings where he walks 2 guys and again gives up a home run. Like there's a lot of guys who will give up solo home runs, and that's the main damage that they give, and so that's why their ERAs are really low, and that's why their WHIP is really low. With that Gallon, that's been the case the last 7 games, and that's no longer a small sample size. He has over 40 innings where he has been this Zach Gallen. So there's no real signs of regression, I think. I mean, he's throwing strikes, he's not walking guys, he's not giving up home runs, he has a low whip. Batters aren't batting, they don't have a high batting average either. So I can see this trend continue for the rest of the season, and maybe he is going to take the qualifying offer, or teams will see that if he continues this way, he might have a 4.5 ERA. And I think maybe teams might be a little hesitant to give him a real contract. So if Gallen feels confident enough that he can come in next season, pitch to that 2.4, 2.5 ERA that he has this season, I can see him taking the qualifying offer. And I mean, that's good news for us.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think that I do agree with Scott. I think that no matter what, if he pitches like this, they'll probably reject it, just because even if you know some team doesn't give him the big contract, some team might give him a 3-year deal over with like 20-25 million per year, which would obviously at least lock him down and guarantee him more money than what he would get as a qualifying offer. And plus, like Scott says, with his agent being Boris, you never really know. That dude kind of is a wild card. Wild card, bitches. Like, you really never know what the fuck to expect from Scott Boras or any of his clients. But either way, I'm gonna enjoy the time with him being a D-back, and I do fully agree with Gabe. I think it's a big thing is one, obviously not having to call his own game. I think having somebody put down the pitches and the locations kind of lets him worry and focus on the actual art of pitching, making sure he's controlling what he can control, and not like, okay, when I throw this pitch, what pitch do I want next? What pitch do I want 3 pitches from now, 5 pitches from now? For the next batter, how am I going to set him up? Like, he's just worried about that pitch that time, making sure he's hitting his spot, hitting the location, and executing in his best ability. And I think that obviously it's worked for him in the past, but I think sometimes being as cerebral as he is can get in his way a little bit. And I think that's why we're kind of seeing him succeed a little bit, is it's taken off his shoulders and he can just go out there and focus on just pitching. And that's why we're seeing him put up this, just over 2 with a just over 1 whip, because that's the kind of Gallon that we're going to need, especially if we do bring him back next year. Hopefully, this, having somebody call his games for him continues into 2026 and beyond. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on the reason why Zach Gallen might be coming back? I know you kind of agreed with me on the fact that it could be Gabby calling his own games. Do you think it's more of like what Gabe said, is maybe it's not as simple as that? Maybe it's just genuinely him having that command of his fastball, maybe his secondary pitches and whatnot. What do you think is the secret sauce behind him turning into his former Cy Young self?
I think it's a mixture of both. And I think it's kind of like what you said. Like, now that he doesn't worry about what pitches to throw, he can just worry on throwing the pitch, being sure that his grip's right, good shape, good form. I think has really helped. I think I really think we need to consider, if we can, bringing back James McCann, because this really started with him. Like, when he started to pitch well, it was when James McCann was behind the plate, was calling the pitches for him. So that might be something, like maybe Hazen can get him like really on the cheap. Like, I'm really hoping so, because I think he's great. Like, I think everyone on the team loves him. But yeah, I think Zach's resurgence, I guess you could say, back to really what he was at the All Star when he started the All Star game in 2023, being that Cy Young caliber form. It's his fastball command, because if he can command his fastball, his curveball is even more deadly. He doesn't really throw his changeup that much anymore. Like in this last start, he had 97 pitches, 44 were his four seam, and 18 were his curveball. So like it was really fastball, fastball, fastball. I'm like, if you can command it well, I'm all for it.
Which is crazy because that changeup was his bread and butter for so many years.
It was like he just got like I don't know if it was a confidence thing, was it a Strom thing, and he kind of just continues to do it. I don't know. I still think the team's going to submit a qualifying offer because why not? Like, what's going to hurt? Okay, he says no, signs with somebody else, we get a draft pick. Like, there's really no, doesn't hurt the team in any way. I think we need him back though because of not having Burns till All-Star break if we're super super lucky, and that's being like super super optimistic. So I think we definitely like even if we don't sign Gallon, we everyone wants Kelly back without a doubt like that. But I still think we need to go after some additional starting pitching. The way Fott's been, the way Erod's been, the fact that this organization has no depth at starting pitching. Like there's only one solid guy I would say in the minors, and that's Daniel Egan, and he's not even close. He is not even close. So really glad to see Zach really performing well because there was a period of time where that's why we couldn't go on streaks because Gallen would pitch every fifth day and the streak would end right there. Right now, he's the one that's probably putting a stop to a losing streak right now, which is weird to say.
Yeah, we have not been able to say that many times this year, or even that many times last year. But either way, it's just been a very nice nice turnaround. Because even kind of looking at some of his numbers here, Fangraphs is being a little bit weird. It's not letting me use the splits tool like it normally does for pitchers, not actually bringing up any stats.
Yeah, it gets buggy at times with all the ads.
Yeah, but looking at kind of like some of his expected or some of his other stats here, going like monthly by monthly. His FIP in March and April was 4.47. In May was 4.80. In June, where that was I think his roughest stretch of the season, it got to 6.53. He had a BABIP of 278. Even in July, it was a 3.37 FIP. But even in like all August, it was a 3.42 with a 2.55 batting average on balls in play. He has, I think the biggest thing is, I mean, he had over 10% walk rate in March and May, got it down to 7 in June, 4 in July, so I think that was his biggest issue. He was kind of just like leaving stuff over the middle of the plate a little bit, and then now it's down to 6.3, and it's not even like he's striking out, like he's just under 20% strikeout rate, but I think it's just being a little bit more effective. Like I don't think it's any one necessarily like thing. I think it's the command or not having to call pitches is leading to him being able to focus a little bit more on just the art of pitching, which could lead to a little bit more better of command. Maybe he has a better feel of his fastball, which helps him land some of his other pitches. Like his knuckle curve has been one of his favorite pitches. I don't know exactly what the reason is, but I think that it's just nice to see him kind of bounce back a little bit. And even if we don't retain him and he does walk, pitch well enough to walk, then I think that's a big thing. But even just one more thing on his stats, because I'm looking at it, some of his leverages are pretty crazy. In low leverage, he's pretty solid. Has a 6.9 walk percentage in medium leverage and 8.2. But then in high leverage, he has a 16.1. So I think sometimes you can just be a little bit nervous to actually go after hitters, especially like I totally understand it with the home run issue that he's had this year. Is sometimes he could leave some things over the middle to some good hitters and whatnot. But I think that if hitters know that you're going to nitpick the zone and try to live on those edges, I think they're going to hunt one thing down the middle. So if your location isn't as good, that could lead to some of those home run issues, to where maybe that's what we're kind of seeing everything kind of come together this month. Maybe whatever it is he figured out, maybe he's like, you do it, you know what, I don't care. Just go out there and throw the ball every fifth day. Don't worry about the next batter, the next pitch. Just listen to what Gabby throws down, throw it, and just move on to the next pitch. That'd be my best guess, but I don't think we'll probably ever truly know personally. But
He's probably gonna hit 180 innings, which is so crazy to think that a guy with almost a 5 ERA will end up throwing 180 innings. He's at 168. He probably has 3, maybe 4 starts left. So, and the way he's been averaging going 6, like that's like has actually helped out this bullpen probably in the second half. It's the fact that he's just able to go at least 6.
yeah, and because Scott's kind of bringing it up in our chat here. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about, or at least I hope we don't have to worry about Zach Gallen drilling our catcher with a fastball when he's been calling for a changeup. If you guys didn't see the whole Framber Valdez thing, bases loaded, his catcher gave him a sign like to use pitch calm, and he was telling him to like step off the rubber. Framber basically, whether he was mad or whatnot, I don't know exactly the reasoning why. He didn't back off the rubber, and he threw an absolute meatball that even Pavin Smith himself could have hit out. Trent Grisham hit a grand slam. And then the very next
Crawford boxes, so like it's barely.
Still, the Yankees are used to playing with baby parks, you know.
Yeah.
So like they're used to that kind of shit. But then like a pitch or two later, I'm pretty sure his catcher called for like a breaking ball because he was looking for something in the dirt and then just got a 96 mile an hour sinker right to the chest protector, and definitely looked like there's some beef brewing there. So thankfully we don't have to worry about that with any of our pitchers with Gabby.
Well, there were a lot of people that wanted us to go after Valdez this offseason. And I was always like,
Why not?
we've tried signing left-handed free agent starting pitchers. How has that worked out?
I mean, he's a lot younger than Madison Bumgarner and Erod, so
But he's
much better than
30.
He's a very similar pitcher, though. Like he is not like he is.
I mean, he throws a lot harder than Erod ever did. So, but he's not like a guy who lives on the corners. I mean, he's the guy who will go after batters. But it was literally just a weird situation. Like at this point, I'm like, this guy's just kind of a punk. I saw Alex D'Agostino was just saying like, oh, maybe people are being conspiracy theories about it. It's like it's just a cross up. I'm like, no. If it was a cross up, I mean, if I ever
apologized.
If I ever pitched,
he
got a
was
cross up,
more
I would
like
run straight to the catcher and be like, hey, my bad. Like, I didn't hear. I would immediately check my pitch comm. Like, hey, like, there's something wrong with this. Like, I would react to it other than just like throwing it straight at my throw the ball back. Can you kind of just do like a little circle around the mound and just kind of didn't even look back at him? I mean, it's the type of play you normally see when they hit an umpire, where you and the catcher agree you're gonna hit the umpire, throw it hard at him, and then you kind of just step off the mound, just kind of walk around, just kind of be like like, hey man, like you screwed us sort of situation. And in this case with Framber, like I don't know, it was just such a weird situation. I mean, I don't watch enough Astros baseball to know like if this is who he is and have been, but
so my friend
could just
says
have beef with him.
So I have a friend that is a diehard Houston Astros fan. I've known him since 2016, 2017, and he said this is not the first
Has
time.
he been a diehard since 2017? Because that would track.
He has. He has been, and oh man, you should have talked to him when that news dropped. He was all like, "Yeah, it's probably true." So I thought it was always funny. But after the game, the pitcher and catcher were called into the manager's office. Pretty much, he said sorry, but more like not sorry.
It's like when you're forced to apologize, but you don't mean it at all. So you're like, "Hey, I said sorry." It's like, yeah, you didn't fucking mean it.
Yeah,
clearly.
It was just like bad. I'm like, yeah, I don't want us to go after him personally.
Yeah, I mean, it is a different situation, but with our luck, he would, drop down to throwing 91 miles an hour, and then he would start trying to beef with Gabby. It turned into a Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent type brawl with whatever catcher he is, where they would try to fight each other in the dugout. But before we move on to some final thoughts on the series in general, prior to the series preview and looking ahead at what we got coming up this weekend, there were two comments here, both of them from Justin I did at least want to bring up really quick. One of them saying Alex is going to be a free agent from Boston, and then Kyle Tucker is also going to be a free agent as well. On the Bregman part, personally, I mean, he's, it'd be nice for third base, but we just talked earlier about like Lawler needing opportunities. If we sign Bregman, that's borderline blocking Lawler guaranteed, especially with Domo short, or at that point, you'd have to trade him or do something, and you'd be trading him at potentially one of the lowest his value ever is, and he's still so young that I personally don't want that. And then on the aspect of Kyle Tucker, we're not going to be able to afford him. Like they already basically said that they're going to be cutting payroll. Kyle Tucker is one of the most underrated lefties in the game. Like I know he's having a little bit of a down year this year. Some hand issues are kind of like attributing to that. But
Yeah,
in
Scott
some of his
Tucker.
prime years in
We
yeah, we cannot
cannot
afford
afford
Tucker. In
him.
some of his prime years there in Houston before being traded to the Cubs, like he was putting up numbers that Juan Soto was putting up. Like maybe not the as flashy, but when you look at some of the stats and whatnot, he was borderline a Juan Soto type player with a little bit better defense, and we're not going to
Yeah,
afford that.
yeah, I think the starting number is a 4. I think as of right now,
Easy.
even with
Yeah.
his down year is a 4. So I'm like, unless the D-backs do a 20-year, $400 million deal, there's no way they're going to be able
We'll
to.
just do what the
With
Clippers did with Kawhi, where we were like, hey man, we're gonna pay you like 30 million from the Dbacks Trees Foundation, and then we'll just pay you like 10 million on the books every year. You cool with that? You cool with that? Cool.
so we do 20 years and then we do like 15 years of deferrals.
I mean, even I'm sorry we're getting off topic, but have you guys ever seen the Magic Johnson contract?
I don't think so.
Anytime with
No.
it? So he basically got paid 1 million per year for like 40 years. They gave him a lifetime contract. So he was the highest paid athlete, but he got it like basically for like 20 or 30 years, something like that, like a few million per year or something. So Kyle Tucker, you're a lifetime D back at that point.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And even like Scott saying, although Kendrick isn't getting any younger, can't take all those billions with him. I mean, I've been very vocal about him. Kendrick is not a billionaire, not even
Keep in
close.
mind, he's not the only owner. He's the
Yeah, he's just the face of it.
majority. So he has everyone else, like, they would probably have to agree to
It's
something
basically like
like
an
that.
investor group. Yeah. He's not don't get me wrong, he's not poor by any means necessary. A dude that literally has his own PSA slabbed like with the D-backs collection because of his multi-million-dollar cards that he has, but he's definitely not the Steve Cohen and Guggenheim billionaire. Even the D-backs ownership group is not the Guggenheim group where they're like got billions and billions closer to trillions in assets. It's definitely a night and day difference, but you know I can make that trade possible and it will be the show. And
Can
and
you?
I mean, yeah, just put on whoever he gets signed to, just put on force trades and make him a D-back. Fuck it, you
Put
force
on
trades
force
and ignore
trades.
budget. Also, really quick, one more side tangent here because I got a GameCube and I've been playing it. MLB The Show, dog shit compared to MVP Baseball '05, greatest
Oh,
baseball
yes.
game ever to exist.
Correct.
Um, just want to say that, especially the game mode, I can actually set like concession stands. I'm a better owner than the fucking Marlins owner, and I'm just in a video game. But any other final thoughts you guys had here on the Ranger series before we move on and look ahead what we got planned on this weekend?
I mean, it should have been a sweep, but either way, they're one game under 500 right now. They have to go. I mean, we're going to talk about them as well, the Red Sox, but they have to sweep the Red Sox. They have to be able to, put you know, send them back home. I feel like this team has played really well against the Red Sox recently, so hopefully they're able to, beat the Red Sox and put the series behind them because again, it should have been a sweep. Fortunately, it wasn't. But I guess you should give them some confidence that hey, you can sweep teams. Like it's not like the Rangers are a terrible team. They didn't have Corey Seager or even Simeon, I think. But either way, I think there's some stuff that needs to be cleaned up a little bit, especially Perdomo. I think for him, he needs to return to the form that he was for most of the season. Like whatever it is, whether it's a physical or mental issue, he needs to clean that up ASAP because they gave him way too many opportunities to come back into these last few games. Fortunately, they didn't because of Perdomo's errors, but those errors could easily turn into big innings for the Rangers, and the Red Sox are a better hitting team than the Rangers, so Perdomo really needs to clean that up, and hopefully we can either see Perdomo clean it up or we can see Jordan Lawler uh, in more games this series.
Yes, I definitely. The last three series alone, there's been some mistakes there, whether it's on-field mistakes or whether some mismanagement and questionable decisions that have kept them from two sweeps and a series win. Obviously, that Brewers series, game two there, Sunday against the Dodgers, and then Monday against the Rangers here. But got to close the book, move on. They're only one game behind 500. Even if they win the series, they are, I believe, technically at 500. So win or sweep.
I
It's
think
gonna be tough though.
82 wins, I think, is still possible. Now, yeah, it's a letdown from what our expectations were.
But compared to where we thought they would be at the trade
Yeah.
deadline, 82 wins, I'll take.
Yeah, and just one final thing that I want to say, Jack Summers found this stat, which I didn't know was possible. Ryan Nelson is tied in MLB for basically leaving a game, and he's in line for a win, but the bullpen blows it. He's at 6. Erod also has 6. But we also lead MLB in that stat, by the way, 22, which makes sense because our bullpen literally has blown like 40, like
41 leads, something like that.
it's so ridiculous. Like, I would take 5 of the reverse 5 of those, and we're in a great, like, we're like 2 games back, I think, of the Mets right now. Like, so I'm not asking for 15 to 20. I'd take 5 of those right now because we would be in a way better. I mean, you take 5 of those, I'm pretty sure we do not sell at the trade deadline.
Here's a big one that me and Gabe talked about at the time when it happened, and a lot of people said that we were being negative. Cubs game back in the beginning of the season.
Like, I mean, I was one of those that didn't really. I was like, it's one game,
but that's
like,
what we've been saying the last 2 seasons. Is like, yes, it is one game. There's still a lot of season, but you don't want to be.
At least we're not looking back at one game. We're looking back at like 15 to 20.
Exactly. But still, it's still games. Every single game in the 162 game season still does count. It's not like it's this one game was a spring training game that doesn't count on the record. No, everything does. So take advantage of it while you can, and they're definitely going to take advantage. And even like Gabe said, play some clean baseball because they got a pretty good team coming to town this weekend, and it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be another takeover by opposing fans, like it seems to be for every single opposing team.
I mean, we have one of their fans in our Discord.
I mean, yeah, but at least for them, it's a more storied franchise. It's not like when the Padres take over. It's like, where were you guys in the years 2015 through 2020? Oh, that's right, you didn't exist. Just like you don't have a football team that exists in your city anymore. Boom. Ouch. Sorry, had to get a ribbing in there.
Low blow, man. That's low.
But we do have the Boston Red Sox coming to town here. Got some pretty decent pitching matchups lined up. At least, it'll be a fun one to watch. 2 lefties going tomorrow night. It's going to be the Red Sox top pitching prospect, Tolley, who's an absolute unit there. Dude's, it's not like he's a skinny, lanky pitcher. Dude's pretty beefy, not like, Bartolo Colon, big sexy, but he's definitely not small. Throws like almost 100 miles an hour from the lefty.
250.
Yeah, 6'6", 250, throws almost like 100 miles an hour. He matched up against Skeens in his debut. He looked pretty solid, so hopefully we can give him his welcome to the big leagues moment and touch him a little bit. He's going to be going up and being opposed by Eduardo Rodriguez, who's 6-8 with a 5.40 ERA. Saturday is going to be Lucas Giolito, who's actually been really, really solid this year for the Red Sox. He is 10-2 with a 3.38 ERA, going up against Fott, who was obviously 12-8 with a 5.33 ERA, hoping to see a bounce back from Fott. And then Sunday, the finale, is going to be Brian Bayo, a pitcher the Red Sox extended. He's actually a pretty young, exciting young arm for the Red Sox there. He's 11-6 with a 3.07 ERA, going up against our best pitcher on the season, at least in the rotation, who's Ryan Nelson, who's 7-3 with a 3.57 ERA. So the Red Sox have been playing really well, I believe. If I'm looking at the standings, let me double check the standings really quick. I believe they are second or third in regards to the wild card in the American League. I'm confirming right now. 1 second. Second in the wild card in the American League.
Half game behind the Yankees, by the way.
Yeah, half game behind the Yankees, and then 4.5 up on the Mariners. So they're going to be a potential playoff team, and one of the big keys is Aroldis Chapman, who is. A lot of people are, I would assume, making jokes, but I think it's a lot of salty Yankee fans saying that he's taking PEDs because he's having a career year at 37 years old. Somehow, dude's still throwing like over 100 miles an hour, has had 0 arm issues. He has, I think, allowed a single hit or even a run in like 50 straight batters. Right. The dude's been dynamite. I'm gonna just check up his stats really quick because the Red Sox did extend him for another, I believe it was 2 years. Yeah, he is 4-2 this season. He has a 1 ERA, 77 strikeouts, and a .65 WHIP.
Last hit given up was on July 23rd.
Like, dude, he has a 3.3 B WAR as a fucking closer. That's disgusting. Like,
he should get some Cy Young vote. Like, he's not gonna get one of the top.
He's a 4 again. A reliever. I know ERA plus as a reliever isn't the biggest metric, but this is disgusting. So even for starting pitchers, like Pedro is like one of the most intimidating pitchers. In his prime, Pedro had like a 200 something ERA plus. Even his career in Aroldis' prime in Cincinnati, he's had like at the highest a 276 ERA plus. He has a 418. 418. 100 is around average. He's a 418 ERA plus. So as long as the D-backs can avoid going into the ninth inning with any kind of deficit, I think that'll be their biggest key to winning and just playing clean baseball. But looking at the series that we have ahead, whether it's some of the starting pitching matchups or like I was just gushing about with Aroldis Chapman in his year 37 of his career or year 37 as a player, not in his career. Good Lord, 37 years would be crazy.
I mean, the way he's playing, maybe he would play 37 years.
And no kidding. He could probably. And then the 1 year we sign him, he's going to be throwing 85 miles an hour. He's going to get 2 Tommy Johns. Don't even think it's possible, but it'll happen. But looking at the matchup we have here and the team coming to town, what are some matchups you're going to be keeping your eye on? Maybe some potential predictions and Nostradamus picks that you guys have going into this 3-game series against the Red Sox.
I mean, like you said, the main key is not having Chapman come out for the ninth inning. I think that's the most important key here. Is just try to get to the starting pitching early. Try to build a relatively sizable lead. If we can get 2 or 3 runs off of the starting pitching, keep them down. Go into the 7th, 8th with a couple run lead. You won't have to see Chapman because as soon as he comes in, like you can count it out. Like I will say, I do want to see Corbin Carroll against Aroldis Chapman. I mean, he's gotten Tanner Scott a couple times in his career. He's got other lefties a couple times in his career. So if there's a game where it's Corbin Carroll versus Aroldis Chapman, then I think that's kind of must-see TV. Lefty on lefty, a guy who hasn't allowed a run. I would like to change that. Like, hopefully the D-backs are the first team to score on them since whatever, mid-July or whatever it was. But yeah, I think that's the main key is just putting on runs against the starting pitching, and then hopefully the bullpen and the starting pitching from the Diamondbacks is able to keep them just down enough. Another key is the fact that Roman Anthony seems to be out for the season as well. He was absolutely destroying
Was
the
it
cover.
Roman or was it Marcelo Mayer?
No, it was Roman Anthony.
Oh, he's out for the season too, along with Marcelo?
Yeah.
I didn't see that news.
Like
I must have been when I was
literally
watching the other
on
night.
Tuesday, I think, or Tuesday or Wednesday, they're
okay,
taking
I was
out the
watching.
game. So
Left oblique strain.
yeah, he's out for the season. At
The
best,
Roman Empire has fallen once
Sure.
again. Unfortunate.
at best, it's a CS if they make it that far for Roman Anthony, but not having him or Mayer in there, like it should hopefully give the D-backs a little bit of an advantage, but they also don't have Gurriel either. So, I think it's gonna be a pretty tight series against the Red Sox. And again, I'm hoping that they just don't have to face Chapman.
Yeah, say fingers crossed. I know you want to see the Corbin versus Aroldis. The one that I would like to see. I mean, I would prefer not to see Aroldis at all. Keep him in the bullpen. Don't let him touch Chase Field mound. But if we do have to, I mean, Cattell, he had that going back to the 2023 season when Aroldis was a Ranger. He had that home run off of him then. Cattell's been hot as of late, and then plus, I always like to see him hit some pimp jobs, and be fun to see if we do go into it, maybe hitting like a walk off as like the only player to score off of him in months. But definitely going to be some interesting matchups. I do think we lucked out a little bit not having to face 2 of the Red Sox young stars in Marcelo and Roman. With the Roman Empire, and if I had a nickel for every time the Roman Empire fell, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. But Brandon, passing it on to you, what are maybe some predictions you have here? What are some matchups, kind of like how Gabe was talking about the Aroldis versus Corbin? What are you going to be keeping your eye on for this 3-game set as the Red Sox come and take over our stadium this weekend?
2 players to watch out for. Trevor Story. It's having a 2020 season, so
He's hitting really well here.
it's really good to see him bounce back because it just seemed like as soon as he got to Boston, could not stay healthy, could not stay in the field. Like, he kind of felt bad for him. And one player that I think is underappreciated, kind of slept on, Cedane Rafaela. Like, they have him playing like second a lot, but he's probably their best center fielder. Like, he is really athletic. Like, he's a really good player. Like, I know like his actual stats are like, is he? Like, his OPS is only 715, but I think he's just really fun to watch. Like, he just looks like a kid out there playing this game. So it's really great to see. Thank you that we're missing out on Garrett Crochet. Thank you for letting us miss out on Garrett Crochet, because that would have been, he would have he would have just murdered us. He would have carved us up like a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So glad we're missing out on him. I'm very intrigued to see how Tully plays. Like I'm really interested to see our offense. I don't know what to expect because outside the top three, our offense kind of scares me because we're probably have Gabby in the 4 hole and what Blaze in the 5 hole. Like, it's not a very
Not the lineup that we expected on opening day.
No, definitely not. And again, I know this is a small sample size, but Tyler Locklear has played really well in the month of September. He's 3 for 9. So I'm just like, maybe they figured something out. But I mean, he was down here, so there's only one way to go. So
Yeah.
it
So
was really
Trevor
great.
Story pick is an interesting one because I sometimes don't trust StatMuse with Fangraphs being a little bit weird. I can't see how Trevor Story hits here in Chase Field, but just going off StatMuse again, sometimes they seem to be right, sometimes they don't. Says that in his career against the Dbacks, he's hitting 302, 23 bombs, 64 RBI in 94 games against the Dbacks. So I know that's a Trevor Story that we haven't really seen in like 4 or 5 years ish, but still, I'm afraid. I think that's a great pick. I'm afraid of him kind of unlocking his former
I'll
Colorado
take a sweep,
self.
though. I'll take a sweep.
It would be very sweet. Would be very sweet to get a sweep. Sorry, stupid dumb dad jokes.
They are never going to stop. Oh,
Never.
Scott, like, what this team has done since they traded away Devers is insane. Like, it just shows how toxic he was to that clubhouse.
Yeah, say getting off that contract and then getting. I mean, what they got in return hasn't been great. Jordan Hicks has been basically mad bum. They would probably be better with the Jugs machine out there on the mound instead of fucking Jordan Hicks, but they're probably happy to only have to deal with him the rest of the year and then they're gone versus having to pay Rafael Devers the 100-200+ million dollars they would still owe him. Which again, I still think Rafael Devers is a good hitter, but sometimes it's like, is the caliber of a player worth it if he's not the greatest guy in the clubhouse, or is it better for the team? It seems like it is better for the rest of the team. I want to see one D-back fan bring a tennis racket to the game this weekend. It would just be just funny to try to get Jaron Duran to sign that. For you guys that know that you know. Oh yeah, had to. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be an interesting series. Who knows? We could be. I know Yankee fans are gonna be D-backs fans for the weekend. I know my boy Jason, aka Shrimpy, he's gonna be rooting very hard for the D-backs. D-backs are his second team. Yankees are his first team. So he is an extra D-backs fan for this weekend. Who knows? I mean, I know they're not in our league. If we could just play spoiler, man, even if we don't play the playoff or make the playoffs, this series, and then I know we mentioned it before, those last 9 games, Phillies, Dodgers, Padres, we could be the deciding factor in a lot of teams on what slot they get going into the playoffs, whether they're like the number 2 team, number 3, number 4, whatever it is, or even who could potentially be a division winner, who could be in a wild card, who could be out of a wild card. We could hold a couple teams' fate in our hand and maybe get some revenge for last year and be the spoiler, not to worry about being depressed come game 163 and having that, because that day sucked, man. Watching that doubleheader where the Mets won and then they just fucking punted the second game, where we're all just watching like, cool, we're helpless. So hopefully we don't have to deal with that, but either way, I do agree with Brandon. I think being able to talk about a sweep here on Sunday would be the most ideal situation, or at worst, a series win, because we're back at 500, something I don't think we've been in like 2 months. It's been a struggle. So if we can at least get back to 500, I think that's the biggest key here. It'll be a tough task, obviously, with that Red Sox pitching staff, but I don't think it's undoable. Any other final thoughts you guys have, whether it's on anything not related to this next series coming up, maybe other like baseball things, kind of like the Framber Valdez thing you wanted to bring up, or anything before we get on out of here?
Just quickly, apparently Andrew Hoffman was taken out of the game today with an injury, so good job, Azen.
Oh, and is it an arm injury, you think?
Apparently he just was getting hit really hard and then was taken out after one pitch.
Ooh, gonna have to look into. Hopefully, it wasn't like a big velo dip. So
We haven't been at 500 since July 20th.
oh god, Good Lord.
And that was the Cardinals series right after the right after the All-Star break.
Oh, good Lord, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. And then we got swept by the Astros,
Yep.
and everything just went downhill. Oh man,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, where we won like one game in the span of
like a
10
week.
days.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. So hopefully we can, maybe right the ship. Give us something hopeful, to, like we keep saying every episode. Just give us something hopeful. Make it some fun baseball to watch. Especially make all those Red Sox fans that are going to be filling in the Chase Field seats a little bit more disappointed on their ride home to wherever it may be. And give us all as D-backs fans a little bit more hope going into the final season. But again, we appreciate all of you guys tuning on in here for another episode of D-backs Dispatch. I know it was a little bit of a longer one, but I feel like it was definitely a more fun one. We got a lot of positive discussion in there, a few things in there that maybe wasn't as fun, like the bullpen mismanagement. But as always, we appreciate all you guys tuning on in here, whether you're on the YouTube live side or again listening to us after the fact on Spotify. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube end, or rate us whatever rating system it is on whatever you're listening to us, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Make sure you guys also go over to all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, follow us there. Join the Discord. It should be in the descriptions on everything and our pinned tweet. So make sure you guys join there if you haven't already. Tell your friends if they don't have a Discord, join the Discord as well. They don't even need social like Twitter or anything like that. They can again just find it from YouTube. Literally, it's free. You don't have to worry about anything like that, especially with the NFL season starting too. If you want a little bit more than just D-backs content, you maybe want to talk a little shit like I definitely will be when the Packers come to town against the Cardinals. That's where you're going to want to be. So that's the place to be, is our Discord. And then also, as always, make sure you guys go over to the azsnakebit.com. Check out all the content over there, a little bit more written dispatch, game day breakdowns, game day threads, and a little bit more in-depth dives to players and some other stats and whatnot. So again, the AZ Snake Pit is the place you want to be. But in the meantime, you guys have a great start to your weekend tomorrow. Hopefully everyone has a great Friday. And hopefully on Sunday, we can have a little bit more of a fun series to talk about. But until then, you guys take it easy. We'll catch you later.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brennan, Gabe on the call. With Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs hum, the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows. We break it down, yeah, that's how it goes. Dbacks Dispatch, turn it